Hello there, and welcome to the Mithral Tabletop. My name is Andrew Wahba, and I'll be your host and game master for this adventure as we delve deep into the golden sands of the enigmatic Osirion and the ancient past. I'll be joined by 6 of my best friends as we really dig into this ancient Egyptian-themed adventure path called The Mummy's Mask. The Mummy's Mask is published by the good folks over at Paizo, and I've taken the liberty of adapting it to the Pathfinder 2nd edition. Now, if you're hearing any of this and wondering what the heck Pathfinder even is, that's what I'm here for. Pathfinder is a tabletop role-playing game where my players will be taking on the role of a fantasy hero and adventurer. I, as the GM, will be taking on the role of everything else. The monsters, the enemies, the allies, the friends they make along the way, and even the rocks. Perhaps a bit ironically, given the nature of this introduction, but the vast majority of this adventure will be unscripted, improvised even. We determine the results of certain actions in the game by rolling dice, usually a 20-sided die known as a d20. The players will roll these dice, add their bonuses determined by their character sheets, and compare that total against a difficulty challenge that I have set and know. I then tell them if they succeeded or failed, and they play out how their characters would react in that situation. For example, they could swing their mighty battle axe in both their hands, crushing their enemy beneath the might of a natural 20 critical hit. Or perhaps they try to climb a very easy to climb wall and roll a natural 1! Oh no, that's a critical fumble! And they fall down and hurt themselves. Either way, if you stick with us, you'll find that our energy is high, our laughter is genuine, and our puns frequent. Most of us started as friends in college over a decade ago and have grown closer ever since. We're like a family now, and I think you can clearly hear that as we talk to each other in this very first episode. So, if a fun, chaotic, ancient Egyptian-themed epic adventure through the vastness of the ancient past sounds like something you'd be absolutely excited for, then hang around, and you'll get exactly that. But enough out of me. You'll definitely hear my voice plenty through this. So here's episode 1, Meet the Misfits. Deep in the parched desert sands of ancient Osirion,
long forgotten secrets are becoming unearthed
that could threaten the security of the entire region.
Through cursed tombs, undead crypts,
and towering pyramids,
our unlikely band of heroes must rise to the challenge
and find the secrets of
the Mummy's Mask. I am so excited for this, by the way, guys. You have no idea. I started rereading it for the first time again today since I started reading this adventure in the summer. And it's so flavorful. There's so much exciting things about to come down the pipe.
Guys, I think he's a little excited.
You have no idea.
I have an idea.
I'm Egyptian. This is an Egyptian-themed adventure. How can I not be excited? I mean, they mention Shabtis. They mention the canopy jars.
Canopic.
Don't you dare correct me in front of my fans. Don't ever disrespect me like that again.
I know what those jars are because of a video game. Do you want to know what video game?
I thought you were about to say you know them because that was like a major plot point for your character in Tyrant's Grasp. You know, Erasni's canopic jars?
No, that was not what I was
Wow!
That was not what I was going towards. No, not at all.
Oh my goodness gracious.
No, what I was going to say is it's called, I think it's just called the Sphinx or something like that.
What is that?
Something Sphinx. It's an older game. It was out on PS2 or something like that.
There was a time period where a lot of things just enjoyed doing ancient Egyptian.
Oh, it's called Sphinx
reading.
and the Cursed Mummy.
Yep,
that's like the Nancy Drew game I play, which is Nancy Drew and the Curse of the Lost Tomb.
Yeah, you go back and forth between two characters, Sphinx and a Cursed Mummy.
But the character's name is a Cursed Mummy?
Well, no, that's not his name. That's what he is.
This sounds like a game that would have been up my alley.
Yeah, he was alive, and then he basically got this curse put on him, and all parts of his soul got put into these canopic, however you pronounce it,
Canopic?
jars.
Yeah.
So
Canopic?
now part of
I
the
might be wrong.
story is
Canopic.
1, you're trying to prevent this guy from, destroying the world. And 2, you have to recover these jars to get the pieces of his soul back so he can be, alive again. Because right now he is a mummy.
Well, that checks out.
And
Are you my
plot
mummy?
twist, the one that the
Yeah,
one that did
Saying
it
the
to
same
him
thing.
was his own brother.
Whoa.
Spoilers.
It is a really okay. Let's see how old. Okay, let's see how
Spoilers
old.
for like a 20-plus-year-old game.
Hey, Alyssa, are you my mummy?
Please not.
I don't want nightmares tonight, thank you.
I'm predicting right now that we're gonna have that joke referenced throughout this adventure at least every other session.
Probably.
That's being conservative.
Probably because of you.
She's the one who started it.
No, Alyssa started it.
You both started it.
Doctor Who started it.
Oh, come on.
I don't care who started it, but I'm finishing it.
Yeah, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, the best doctor. Well, the second best doctor.
I'll say,
Well,
watch your
which
mouth.
Doctor Who is the best Doctor?
I really, really love what's his name, Christopher Eccleston. He's not
He's
my favorite,
fantastic.
but he's so
His-
underrated.
Yeah, he is.
He
a
is
very
really
Doctor.
underrated.
Second favorite. He's my second favorite, but of course, I
David
have
Tennant.
to stick with David Tennant. Oh,
Yeah!
That's
Yes.
the easy
Paul
choice. That's
D.
like
Right side.
that's the most generic answer. Everyone said David Tennant.
Only
I mean,
David
they have good
Tennant
reason.
with
He's so
Donna.
good.
Only David Tennant with Donna.
Yes!
Tennant with
Oh my
Rose,
God,
yeah.
I love
David
Donna.
Tennant with Donna, the
No,
best.
take
I
that back.
did- I was
Don't
not a fan
worry,
of
David
Rose.
Tennant and Donna are coming back.
Wait, are they really?
Yeah, you haven't seen anything about that?
No.
The new Doctor is David Tennant.
What? He's coming back?
Yes, you guys didn't know that?
No,
Wait, I thought
I
it
haven't
was
seen
for
Doctor
special.
Who since they took it off Netflix.
Yeah,
no,
I mean
he-
it's for like the next special, but
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like
Okay.
Jodie Whittaker turns into David Tennant, and he literally says, "Wait a second, I know these teeth," and it's like,
Oh, yeah, I've
oh,
seen,
no,
like, a clip of
Oh my
huge,
gosh.
it's a huge thing.
That just made my
Like,
nerd heart
Donna-
really,
Donna
really
is
happy.
supposed to be coming back too.
I'm fangirling.
Wait, and Donna's coming back too?
Yeah, I don't know to
my
what extent
gosh.
because like the whole thing about if she remembers, then like her head explodes.
Right.
So like I don't know what they're
no.
gonna do with that.
Oh
but
my gosh,
Oh, no.
intense. And Andrew, we have HBO now, so we can watch them. Remember,
Shit,
we were
you're right.
literally watching it the other day.
Oh my gosh, this is so nerdy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay,
I haven't
but
seen any of the new one.
Has there ever been a Doctor Who like Egyptian episode where they go back to like ancient Egypt themed stuff? Because I know they go back to Rome.
I know Classic Who has some. Like there was
Oh,
one
of
they
course.
did with Cleopatra.
Yes.
I don't remember. I know there was the episode with the town that gets covered in ash. Can't think of the
Pompeii.
name. Yes, Pompeii.
Because that's where we
Uh,
first see Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, and then he comes back and nobody addresses it.
Well, no, he does address it. He does. address
does?
it. Yeah. There's the
This is what I
episode
get
where
for watching
he's
this.
like, I know why I chose this face, and it's a flashback to Tennant and talking to Donna, and Donna's basically like, you can't save all of them, but you can save one. And then Peter Capaldi's like, that's what I do. I save what I can.
Whew. Well, speaking of Doctor Who, who's ready
Oh
to
my
get
God.
started?
Seriously?
That's how I'm starting it.
Whose line is it, anyways?
Hey, you guys were talking about Doctor Who. I'm saying who wants to get started?
That's
You're
right.
good.
Yes, doctor.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Thank you.
I got you.
Blackout. Our story begins many, many years ago on the fertile shorelines where the Crook and Asp rivers meet. A humble village watches over these desert dunes and the gently flowing river reeds at its confluence where the Sphinx River is born. The village slowly awoke as it had for the last 4,000 years. The sun rises lazily over the golden horizon, casting a soft orange glow over the morning sky and the white brick houses of the quiet city. The babbling river washes over a herd of yawning hippos grazing peacefully. A flock of craning herons gather not very far from them further down the river, separated by some river lilies, evidently hunting for some fresh fish. A few of them look up suddenly as they scatter in a flurry of feathers and squawks as a ship's bow cuts through the water and fills our view with its bright red wooden hull. It's made from local Osiriani wood and carved with the finest craftsmanship from this long ago time period. On the boat are two men, dark tanned by the desert sun, with short ponytails on the sides of their otherwise bald heads.
By the grace of Sobek, we have a blessed morning today.
Tefnut, the older of the two brothers, says while breathing in the brisk morning air. He pulls hard on a rope and angles the boat's sail against the wind, steering them deeper into the Sphinx River, and begins to tie the rope onto the side of the boat, securing it in place. Satisfied with his knot, he leans against the side of the boat, relaxing slightly, and turns to his brother. He can't help but notice, but his younger brother seems tense, as if he's worried about something, and watches him busy at work, checking on the fishing nets over the side of the boat.
So, tell me, brother, when do you plan on proposing?
The question clearly catches Kontar by surprise, and he blushes a bright red as he stumbles for the netting.
Propose? What? Who? Me? Did our mother tell you?
No, Mother didn't tell me. I know you, brother. You can't hide things from me. Though now I'm a little hurt. You told Mother before me?
New jokes, playfully jabbing his younger brother in his shoulder. They share a laugh as Kontar tries to resist his older brother. After a moment, Kontar replies,
Hey, brother, can I ask you something? Milla, what if she says no?
Say no? Never. Look at yourself, brother. Horus himself would be jealous next to you. You radiate with the light of Ra and the wisdom of Osiris. Jamila would be a fool not to marry you.
You don't think she's been acting a bit strangely lately, then?
Is that why you've been so nervous? Brother, she probably expects you to propose yesterday. Relax. She's probably just excited and trying to pretend she doesn't expect anything. I'm sure you have nothing to worry about.
Tefnut says all this trying to encourage his brother, but he can tell that it's clearly not working. He frowns in thought for a moment, deciding how best to help, and the two brothers work in silence for a few minutes as they gather their fish sailing down the river. With a start, an idea comes to Tefnut and he leaps excitedly towards Kontar.
Hey, show me the ring.
What?
Your engagement ring. Come on, I have an idea.
Reluctantly, Kontar reaches into his waistband and pulls out a modest-looking brass ring, unable to afford anything more precious like the true gold that he wishes he could have bought.
Careful with it, okay? That cost me more than 2 months' salary.
Trust me, brother. Here, watch.
Tefnut holds the ring out in the palm of his hand, with his other hand above it, moving in very complex motions as if casting a spell on it.
By the power of Hathor, Shaylin, Sarenrae, and Desna, from the mothers of love, goddesses of beauty, art, and marriage, bless this man's desire to celebrate in your creation and honor you in marriage. And may Jamila say yes when he asks the question. There, see. Now your ring is blessed by every goddess of love I can think of.
Come on, there's no way that actually worked. Was that even a real prayer? It sounds like you just made that up on the spot.
Oh, it's real alright. You'll see. Now tell me how you plan on proposing to her.
Many hours later, as the sun is dying in the west, Kontar approaches a modest Osiriani home made up of mostly clay brick and mortar. The houses are designed to keep cool in the day and warm at night, and this open-air design helps facilitate this. Kontar is dressed up in his fanciest linens and wearing a nice wig to try and look his best for his beloved. He takes several nervous breaths and hesitantly looks over his shoulder to his brother's hiding spot only a few feet away. Tefnut gives his brother an encouraging thumbs up and mouths the words, "You can do it," before motioning him onward towards the house. Kontar opens the front gate, straightens himself out again, and approaches the door. He knocks on the door nervously and takes a step back as he straightens out his wig again. After about a minute of silence, he knocks again, and again there is no answer. He hears a scream coming from the Wati streets just behind him, and he looks over his shoulders towards Tefnut's hiding spot, but his brother isn't there. Frowning slightly at the lack of support, he turns to his girlfriend's house and calls out for her. The quiet does little to calm him down and ignites his already heightened nerves into overdrive.
Tefnut?
He calls out behind him, but his brother is nowhere to be seen. Panic begins to set in as he calls out into the house before him.
Jamila, are you there? Please, open the door.
Still, there is no response. Kantar leans up against the door to the house, trying to hear anything or anyone inside. While it's hard to hear, he thinks he can hear a strange gurgling sound. He doesn't know what it is, but cautiously, the young bachelor finds a nearby window and climbs up into the opening into the house. Everything is dark. This is unusual at this time of the early evening, where Wati people would usually begin lighting a few lamps throughout the common rooms.
Jamila, are you here? Where are you?
The younger brother asks nervously, almost in a whisper. He slowly starts walking through the halls of the house, following the sounds, which may have actually been choking, or was it coughing? What was that sound? Where is it coming from? Louder and louder the sound became as he moved through the house. He was getting closer. His heart began to beat faster and louder as it thumped in his ears. He began to shake from the adrenaline as sweat began to bead up against his lips and his forehead. He could feel his heart in his throat. He tried to slow down his breathing so that he couldn't be heard and leaned up against the wall just around the corner from where he thinks the sound was coming from. Slowly, inch by inch, he leans forward to see the source of the sound, only to nearly scream from shock.
Aunt! Oh no, what happened to you?
The young man exclaimed in a panic and ran over to help his future mother-in-law. She lay there in a pool of her own blood, a slash across her neck. She was choking on her own blood and unable to breathe properly. He tries to clean the blood with his shirt, but it's only a futile effort. There's too much blood. He's shaking violently and struggling to say something, but fear and panic is overwhelming his brain. Splurts of blood splattered across Kantar's face as she tries to raise a trembling hand. She's shaking violently, but he slowly realizes that she's pointing behind him, and his heart sinks. His eyes, the size of dinner plates, slowly, terrified, he turns his head. And behind him was standing his love, Jamila. Kantar, wanting to scream, he wanted to run. He didn't understand what was going on. Her eyes, they weren't right. They were yellow with glowing red irises. Her lips were white and cracked and dripping with blood. Another scream cut through the night, much closer this time, perhaps the neighbor's house.
Jamila? My river lily, don't you recognize me? What's happened to you?
He gasped in an almost inaudible whisper, fighting back tears and uncontrollable fear. But it didn't seem to matter. With a screech and unholy speed, the creature that used to be Jamila leapt from the shadows and lunged at her former lover. A flash of the blade, and Kantar screams out into the night as the camera zooms out past the house, joining the chorus of other terrified Wati citizens. The plague of madness had descended on the city of Wati.
Damn. Good job, Wahba.
Everyone warmed up!
Wait, is this a
It's so
horror story? I
heartbreaking.
didn't realize this was a horror story.
I mean, it is
I
mummy.
mean,
Right?
Yeah, but I don't really think mummies are that scary.
That's nervous laughter across
And
the...
Stiller is not here, so
So, for context, about 2,000 years ago, Wati succumbed to a plague of madness. Whatever this plague was, it destroyed half the city. Half the citizens of Wati were killed in a mindless murder spree. This was later discovered to have been created by a cult of Lamashtu worshippers in the town, and eventually the Temple of Pharasma had to basically quarantine away half the city. It took thousands of years, but eventually Wati has now grown, and it is now basically much bigger than what the necropolis signifies. But the necropolis now stands as basically a memorial to this long ago plague of madness that has once plagued the city.
This plague that plagued.
This plague, I'm a writer, guys. Oh man! So, does that set the tone? You guys, let me know. I can do another one.
I didn't realize it was gonna start out
Dark.
so dramatic and horror
No,
story.
Yeah, I
and
thought we were
stuff.
going to open up on a little sunny scene as we're walking down the streets of
We
Wati.
did open it with a sunny scene. It was a nice, beautiful morning, right? I talked about the lazy, yawning hippos,
No, I
right?
meant like
the flock
when we
of,
come
of
in,
herons.
it would be happy and
Oh,
sunshiny.
yeah. Well, if you guys want to introduce yourselves, we can jump into that real quick.
Oh,
I do want to say, Wahba,
Yeah.
great, good job.
Yeah.
he
Thank
did
you,
a good
appreciate it.
job, didn't he? Oh gosh, that's so dark, and now we're like, okay, well, this is us. Sorry for the
Well,
darkness.
let me bring the mood back up a little bit more, okay? I want to introduce myself and the rest of my wonderful enthralled players. My name is Andrew Wahba,
Enthralled by
and
the
I will
blood.
be your host and GM for our duration of this adventure, The Mummy's Mask, as written by Paizo, presented by the Mithral Tabletop. Shameless plug. um,
Look at
So, a little bit
you.
about
It's like
myself.
you're a natural.
I've been practicing all day. Don't let this fool you. So, I used to teach high school, and I used to teach high school science, I should say. Around the same time that I started teaching, around 2016, 2017, a good friend of mine, Cal, introduced me to this little-known game called Pathfinder. And the second I picked up my first character sheet, a sorcerer, I was immediately hooked. I was obsessed with the game, and I still am. Go figure.
Yes.
Obsessed with Pathfinder?
Shocking no one. I now know more than I should and play more than I should. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Wait. Share with the class. How many times a week do you play Pathfinder?
I don't want to answer that.
No,
For the
don't.
record.
play
I
that
think
often.
you should answer.
I play the exact same number.
Sure. So I'm currently in a D&D 5e game on Tuesdays, which will eventually transition back to our Abomination Vaults game, which is on hiatus. I am GMing for this Mummy's Mask game. I'm GMing a Pathfinder 2nd Edition remake of Doomsday Dawn, which is technically not Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It was for the Pathfinder playtest, but whatever. And then immediately after that, the same day on Sundays, we also play in a 2nd edition remake of Curse of Crimson Throne. So I play in a lot of games.
Yes, you do.
I've played through all of Tyrant's Grasp. I've played through the first half of the Ruins of Aslan, and we will eventually get back to that, right? And
Yes.
yeah, eventually.
5 years.
I've read through and want to eventually run Extinction Curse. I've read through and want to eventually run Reign of Winter. I've read through it. Do you see a pattern?
That list is never going to end, Wahba.
Oh, man. No, I love this game. And I want to share some of that love with all of you guys as well. I'm now no longer a teacher, but a lot of those teaching skills I found have really helped me as a GM. And I'm currently now a software developer, and with all that extra free time from not teaching, I am able to create this game. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce you some of my players. Let's start off with the person who's been talking the most so far, Katie. Why don't you introduce yourself to us?
I knew I should have shut my mouth.
No, we love it.
That's
Never
fine.
learn.
I'm. I don't. I really don't.
It's
All right.
okay.
Well, I'm Katie, as Wahba so introduced me, and I don't really have a lot of fun facts about myself, but I play in all the games that Wahba just mentioned. So we're playing in this game on Friday. We're finishing a D&D 5e campaign on Tuesday, which is almost over. And when that finishes, we'll be returning to Abomination Vault, which I am GMing and for the first time ever. And I really enjoy it. I actually enjoy it more than I thought. So I'm very excited to get back into it, especially since I have the bundle for Foundry. So that'll be interesting to use. And then on Sunday we have those two games as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I do eventually. I already told Anjela this, but what I want for Christmas / my birthday is the Foundry bundles for Bloodlords, because I really, really want to run that one.
Bloodlords is the one that takes place in Geb, right?
Yes.
Fun fact about Geb, since I am the de facto Pathfinder nerd of the group, Geb was once a colony of Osirion.
Oh, see, I was gonna say that.
That doesn't
but,
surprise me, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just wanted you to get it out there for everybody else.
Yeah, I just think Bloodlords would be super interesting because, like, you don't get a lot of opportunities in a lot of the other adventure paths to really play evil characters per se, or all of the new, like, undead ancestries and archetypes. Like, you don't really get the chance too much. And this adventure path would be the perfect opportunity to do it. You want to be a zombie? You want to be a ghost? You want to be a skeleton? Cool beans.
And it especially helps because most of the work is already done for you by the wonderful staff at Foundry.
Yes.
So for anyone listening who isn't in the know, Geb is a nation ruled entirely by undead, which is why it's advantageous to play as an undead character. So you're not one of the living mortals who has to work for their living. You're just one of the rich, elite undead people who rule the nation. It's really interesting.
They do still look down on certain undead, such as zombies.
Right. Well, probably because they're mindless.
Yeah.
So, Erin, how you doing over there?
You said something. Now it's your turn.
So I'm Erin. I am a middle school teacher, and I'm still a middle school teacher.
We're
I
sorry.
know, like daily tortures. And I always say that just a little tidbit about me that I'm really terrible with the 3 M's: memory, multitasking, and
Money?
Anyway, you'll come to find out that in this group, the pun game is strong.
Oh no, I hate to make this joke, but I mean, she is a middle school teacher, so yeah.
I'm so sorry, Erin. It was too
I
perfect.
know.
What?
I didn't get the joke.
It was too
Teachers don't get paid enough. They really don't.
Okay.
The first
All the
thing
money.
she said was memory.
What was the third M
No,
going
I
to be?
said
That was
that
the
was the
joke.
joke that you guys ruined. But okay.
Sorry.
No.
Speaking of ruined
I'm-
jokes, I was gonna say that in this group, the pun game is pretty strong, and I usually try to bring my A
Oh, that's
game.
what I was gonna say, and I totally forgot.
Oh no.
Damn it.
All right, I'm done.
We're sorry, Erin.
This
Oh,
is on
man.
par.
Hey, listen.
I got
We love
tears
you.
in my eyes. I got tears in my eyes from laughing.
Oh, man. See, now it's not so tense anymore
Actually,
from the prologue.
I could make it worse, but I won't.
Oh, I
How
appreciate
could you
it.
make this worse?
So Erin
No.
makes the
No, it's
puns,
okay.
and I groan in pain.
Yeah. Well, that was the
that's
other
our
thing I was gonna
relationship.
say, but I digress. So.
So fun fact about our small little group, most of us were at one point, or I guess in Erin's case, still currently are teachers. I think we all actually, almost all of us went to college with like an education degree in mind, for the most part. I think
Yeah.
like at least half of us, right?
Not me.
I said most. We got 2 English majors, a nurse major, and I guess technically you're biology.
Yeah.
Biology into master's nurse, and then everyone else is a education major.
Yeah,
Of
me,
something.
Alyssa, and Ashley are the only ones that did not get anything in education, I think.
Yep.
Literally more than half the party then is education.
Yep.
Nope.
We're a
You guys
bunch
are
of
nerds.
nerds.
And that's why a bunch of them are mom friends.
Oh,
Or
goodness.
actual parents in some people's case.
I did get certified to
Gotcha.
teach English as a second language, so
Ooh.
Didn't
You did
for 2
teach
years?
English for a little while, didn't you?
yeah. And I substitute taught when I came back into the States. So
Well, who are you, first of all?
my name's Alyssa.
Do you like that segue?
Good job, Bubba.
Yeah, so my name's Alyssa. I know most of these people from college.
These people.
Yeah. And then other people I met playing this game. And I'm a little awkward. But yeah, I don't know how to end this.
Well, I mean, where did you teach English? That's really
Oh.
interesting.
So after college, I went to South Korea and taught English as a second language for like a year and a half. And then I came back and substitute taught. And then getting a education degree is expensive and I was still paying on mine. So I found a job at the library, which is where I still am today.
You soccer meme to the library.
That's how I'm going to spend my vacation, except no, I'm spending my vacation at South Korea. So
Ooh.
Well, I think you will enjoy a part that later shows up in this adventure, as a library may or may not feature prominently in one of the later books. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
It doesn't.
So excited.
I'm just teasing.
Is there a giant owl?
There is no library.
You big tease. There better be a giant owl.
Hey, Nick, did you introduce
God,
yourself?
I'm quitting.
No, he didn't.
Why don't you take this moment now to introduce us and your giant owl?
I don't have a giant owl. My daughter does.
For
But,
shame.
so I'm Nick. I was also introduced to Pathfinder through Wahba. He actually got a small group of us together like mid-pandemic 2020. Was like, hey, I got a group that's going to play this like kind of D&D game. Do you want to join us? And I was like, sure, why not? And then I ended up being the only person who did the entire campaign with that party, because everybody else either quit or ended up not having time or other things happened. And so I was the only person that woke up in, oh geez, I can't even remember what it was called. Rosser's Coffer. Is that where we started?
Rosser's Coffer.
The only one who woke up in Rosser's Coffer and traveled all the way until we all got nuked at the end.
Whoa! Spoilers! Whoa!
Until we
How
all
long
did
has that adventure
the
pack
thing.
been out? Come on.
It came out in 2019, so 4 years.
Isn't that the one you also told me was like super spoiled?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
so.
God, you get spoiled with everything for that one.
You can talk about your history lesson Pathfinder thing when Nick finishes.
Well, I was going to say that in that group, there was like, I want to try to think of, there was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 total players at one point or another in that entire campaign.
Lord.
And out of those 12, you're the only one who made it to the end.
Yeah, we averaged, what, like 6 or 7 per session?
Yeah, seven's probably the most
coming
realistic
and going.
I didn't get invited until level 7.
I mean, yeah.
I'll never forget that because I had to make a spellcaster at level 7.
Oof.
And yeah.
I was trying really hard not to get invited.
Yeah, you were.
I heard.
No regrets. though.
And yet,
I've loved
and
every
yet
minute.
you were there.
But you made it, and you loved it, and now you're part of this
That's right.
group.
And we loved our emotional support gnome, so we were all glad you were there.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, in that session, I played a bard because, surprise, surprise, I was a music ed major. Was a music teacher at several points in the last several years. Currently, the director of a daycare, so kind of along the same line, but not quite. But I still teach music lessons, so I still get that. So,
Ta-da!
Who wants to go, Anjela?
You still have to
Hey,
go.
thanks for
Ashley.
volunteering.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm going. Alrighty. So I am Ashley. I am the newest to Pathfinder, being introduced to it through, naturally, Andrew, who everyone else calls Wahba, but I am Andrew's girlfriend, so I call him Andrew.
and it's so weird.
I know, it's so weird, but
He
I
definitely
can't call
told
him
you
Wahba.
the wrong name when you met. Because I'm pretty sure on his birth
He was
certificate,
nervous.
it just says Wahba in all caps.
You know what? We can't find his birth certificate, but once we do, we'll talk to
That's
you.
not even a joke. No, that's actually true.
Did you leave it in Canada?
No, we brought it from Canada. I can't remember if it's at my mom's place, one of my old places, or with me currently. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, we have to renew your passport, so we kind of need the birth certificate.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find the Egyptian part of it in this session.
I don't have an
Beautiful.
Egyptian birth certificate, actually.
Oh, God.
Find out
the
that
Canadian
your
and
middle
American
name's
one, though.
Mufasa.
Anyway, as Andrew said, I am biology turned nurse, so I was a researcher for transplant patients, which was really fun. I loved it, and then I loved it so much I decided to go and get my master's degree, switch to becoming a nurse, and now I'm currently a nurse practitioner, which is a very rewarding job. So I'm in my first year, though, and it does get really tough at times, so any of you studying to be a nurse practitioner, that first year is definitely the hardest, but hanging in there. And on my free time, I have 3 younger siblings who I love so much. I hang out with them all the time, currently in South Carolina with one of the siblings.
Aw.
And then I got my cute little baby dog, Daisy, who I play with all the time. She's so sweet.
You guys mentioned your siblings.
You don't need to throw shade at them just because I'm creepily attached to my siblings.
Someone clearly loves her sibling more than the others.
Oh, that's about it, though. About me.
Fun fact, the only one here that is a single child is the one that hasn't gone.
It's true.
It's true.
Look at that segue.
You're welcome.
That was the segue I was thinking of too, actually.
Okay, so that's all I have to say is that I'm an only child. Done.
It's not your only fun fact. First of all, what's your name?
My name is Anjela, and it's spelled with a J.
I was going to say it if you didn't say it.
And when did I first join?
Ruins of Aslant. I think Jangela.
It was Sweet.
Alyssa just posted in our group chat.
I was gonna make a similar joke, Alyssa. I was gonna say Angeja.
No, it was Tariq, because I'm pretty sure you tried out Tariq first, and then
No, it was actually Lidna first in the Ruins of Aslant.
Lidna.
Yeah.
Aslan.
Okay,
I got them all mixed up. It was one
so
of those.
Katie is the one that got me into it, and it was basically just her coming into my room because we're
Repeatedly.
and she would just come into my room and she would be like, hey, do you want to play this game? And I'm like, eh. And then probably after the 5th or 6th time of her asking me, hey, you should really play this game, you would like it, I was like, I'll try it. And then she introduced me to Wahba, and then we started playing Ruins of Aslant, and I was like, this is actually kind of awesome. And it just kind of escalated from there. I was a teacher. I was a high school biology teacher.
Biology represent.
I love biology. I hated teaching with a passion. And it sucks because I went into teaching loving it, and then I left hating it.
Yeah.
Part of that was the administration.
Very common story.
Yep.
Yes.
I always tell people I love teaching. I hated being a teacher. But that's all right. So I think that's pretty much everyone. We are a band of merry misfits, and for the most part, we all are in completely different states, even currently, actually. I think we have 2 in Texas, 1 in North Carolina temporarily until she comes back into
she's in
Ohio.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
You don't even know where your girlfriend is?
Wow.
I always
We
say
all
North
knew
Carolina
that.
instead of South Carolina. I don't know why. Nick, did you live in North or South Carolina?
North.
I
lived in
That's
North
why
Carolina.
he's confused. It's because he's
He has the
Canadian.
mountains. She has the beaches.
She's currently residing in one of the Carolinas for a vacation, but she decided, you know what, she's going to be a good girlfriend and commit to this podcast anyways for session 1. So what's up?
I did. Hey.
No hero points though.
Oh, sad face.
Wow.
No favoritism. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of hero points, Wahba, would you like to explain what that is?
Yes, for those of you not listening.
He didn't get through all the states yet.
Ooh.
For those of you who don't know, Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the game we're about to play, has this mechanic called hero points. A hero point is awarded once at the beginning of every session, and also for extraordinary acts of heroism, selfless sacrifices. Sometimes I'll forget, so if one of you guys remind me, I may decide, yeah, you know what, that does deserve a hero point to this player. You can use hero points to re-roll any check, and we house rule it so that instead of keeping the second result, you keep the higher of the 2 results. So it's pretty powerful that way. But yes, so we have normally 2 people who live in Texas. That would be Katie and Anjela. We have 1 person who lives in West Virginia. That would be Erin. We have 4 of us who live in Ohio, but we live in different parts of Ohio. So a couple of us live in Columbus, but on opposite sides of Columbus, and another one lives in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, which is, pretty much most of the rest of Ohio.
Pretty much anywhere that's not Columbus.
Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, I think are the big cities.
Zanesville was the capital of Ohio at one point.
Wait, Zanesville used to be the capital?
I don't remember. Maybe.
I think it did.
I think it was, but
Yeah, at one a really long time.
Well, and it's
ago.
for a very short period of time.
Right.
To my Canadian mind, I always thought Cleveland was the capital because most of my family.
Cleveland was
Cleveland.
at one point too.
Really? Does Ohio just not know what they want to be the capital?
Okay, in 1810.
Painesville replaced Chillicothe as Ohio's. Chillicothe was a capital?
And this is
Yeah,
when we
I
need
guess.
Trevor to give us the history lesson.
Oh God,
That's true.
Shout out to Trevor from one of our other sessions.
Trevor, you the best. And Katie and Watson.
And Katie and Watson. Watson's their
Not
kid.
me, Katie. Other Katie.
A different Katie, you're right. They're married. This Katie is not married to that Trevor.
No,
well, never mind.
I'm not married to anyone. I am not pushing a baby.
Anyways, so that's introductions out of the way. I think we can jump right in now to the story now that our spirits are much more elevated, much like the state of Wati, as it has been 2,000 years since the scene that we had just seen in the prologue. Scene,
You're funny.
The year is currently 4714 AR, which took place in around 2014 AD, our time when this game was released, give or take. I might be off by a bit. But we now descend onto a city much different from what we once saw in the ancient times during the Plague of Madness. This Wati is much, much larger. You can see here from the map that the necropolis, the old city, is only a tiny portion of the rest of Wati, which is now about 3 or 4 times bigger. It has many different districts, and it is now a central hub of trade in the region, especially with the 3 southern cities in Osirion. We descend now, as the camera kind of like zooms in through the clouds. You can see some flying, what are they called? Cranes, flying through the air, flying away from the river Asp. And we descend down into the Midwife District, which is kind of like downtown Wati. We descend into the Sunburst Market, and this market is bustling with Wati citizens and merchants trying to sell off goods, as there is a large crowd of adventurers and heroes. Now, these are clearly from all over the world. You can clearly tell that not most of these people aren't from Wati, although a significant portion of them are. You have some people from the far northern reaches of the land of the Linorm Kings, which is like the frozen tundra of the north. You have many people from southern Garund in the Mwangi Expanse, which is like the African jungles. And you have some people from northeast in the more temperate regions like Absalom, the city at the center of the world, or even as far as Taldor and the River Kingdoms. Heroes from all over the world gather in this Sunburst Market. As you can see, the energy is just bursting. It feels almost like a celebration, kind of like there is what's the word called? Like a festival. That's the word.
No.
The air in the market feels like a festival. Everything is celebratory, and you have all these merchants going, "We got extra supplies, come by discount prices for adventurers, 50% off as low as 2 silver pieces, get your adventuring bag, we have maps," and they're all shouting, trying to get everyone's attention. They're trying to sell anything last minute to all the nearby adventurers. As we zoom in, we descend upon a man. This man is well dressed. He has a pretty face, and he has golden jewelry all over him. Alyssa, why don't you describe Habibi to us?
Habibi is, like you said, very good looking. Dark black hair. It's kind of curly. Very well kempt. He likes to take care of himself. And he's got that nice, like, dark tan cocoa skin, because he's from the area. So, and he's very carefree, and you see him, like, walking along, and he reaches out, and he's reaching towards one of his best friends, Tanhi, a catfolk villager.
And, of course, like, Tanhi is always going to be a step behind Habibi. Like, either she's walking right next to him, or she's like a step behind because she's a catfolk. She gets curious, so she sometimes gets distracted, especially when she's in the middle of like the market. and there's so many things happening. Like, she's curious. She wants to go investigate everything. And as she's investigating one of the stalls, she realizes that Habibi is like reaching out for her. So she reaches out with her paw and, takes his hand because they've been best friends for years at this point. And she's got light color fur with like some black stripes, but the light color is obviously, if you know anything about biology, light color is great in the desert areas, especially the thinner coats.
Would you say that Tanhi has tawny fur?
Yes, has
Dare you. You should be ashamed.
Also,
Erin isn't the only one. Erin is not the only one who can do puns.
And across her back is this huge axe that looks like it's 2 times bigger than her, and it looks like it should be like toppling her over, like she should be falling over, but she's like walking, like she's almost skipping. Like, that's how lightly she's walking, like with this huge axe on her back.
What classes do you guys play? Or do you want to save that to be revealed later?
Well, for Tanhi, it's kind of obvious, like she's going to be some kind of fighter, but she is a barbarian, and she has the giant instinct.
Hence the giant weapon.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, Habibi doesn't have like a lot of weapons on him, like, so it's pretty obvious. Like, he's going to be the healer and spellcaster, so he's the cleric.
Ooh, what is cleric of who? If you don't mind asking.
Osiris.
Osiris, the namesake of the nation that we live in. Interesting. All right. Well, as you guys are kind of hanging about, watching the crowds go by, kind of people watching, you see all these groups, and you can clearly see like the adventuring groups kind of keep to themselves. But suddenly a crash and a scream draws your attention. You look over and you can see this merchant screaming, "Get out! Stop trying to take my trinkets without paying for them!" And you can clearly see a short-tailed goblin with an elf trying to pull him away. Why don't we describe these 2 wonderful characters?
So the goblin, played by me, Nick, is Mkfor, and he is obviously trying to take some of these wares, but not anything that looks like shiny or expensive, because that's not what Mkfor is into. Mkfor is a thaumaturge, and so he actually loves what most people might consider to be trash. He will not throw anything away that could potentially be useful at some point in the future. And a lot of it is because he has learned that many things have an energy to them, I guess. A religious symbolism or an occult symbolism. Some sort of way that, if it's shown to the right person, makes them feel some sort of way. And so he tends to collect things. He has a full bag of just random junk that just goes everywhere. And
because things have power.
Because things have power, yes.
Or because things have meaning, they have power, is kind of like the whole thing.
Exactly.
I love it.
And so Mkfor is... You did say I have a tail, correct? So yes, Mkfor has a tail that is actually just as long as he is short, which, I mean, he's only 2'11", so it's, 2'10". So his tail is not, super long, but compared to the rest of his body, but he is short and lanky for his size, a hairless baboon, pretty much. At the end of his tail, he is carrying a lantern, which is actually his main thaumaturge device that he uses, and also uses it to knock his enemies out a lot. So around his neck, he is also wearing a clothed necklace that he has threaded through several different trophies from enemies that he has slain.
Meanwhile, the taller man, much taller, who is pulling Mkfor away, possibly a little embarrassed. What does he look like?
So, I play Keryth, who is this tall elf that Wahba so aptly led into. Keryth is a full elf. He is rather tall, a whole foot taller than I personally am. He is about 6'3", so he's tall. And like most elves, rather slender and whatnot. He keeps his dark hair pulled back in a ponytail and has like little braids. And he always keeps one braid like right by his face, and it's wrapped up in this piece of gold that he found in a delve years and years ago. And as he's pulling Mkfor away from this stall, he doesn't necessarily look embarrassed, more exasperated, because this isn't the first time this has happened, and it is not going to be the last, more than likely.
No, it won't.
And as he's like dragging Mkfor away with one hand, he like flips a like a silver coin or something like that, just whatever he had in his pocket, back to the merchant, and just like waves as like an apology, because it's probably going to happen again. And Keryth probably owes them a little apology himself, not for stealing. Never for stealing. He's not that low. But, so Keryth is of the inventor class, and he has a workshop in town. He didn't grow up in Wati, but he's basically settled down roots here for like the last couple of decades or so. And he has a workshop here. And needless to say, it is very common to hear little explosions. Not always little, but explosions coming from his workshop. And his landlady, sweet as can be, but she has to keep the temple on call so that they can put out the fires, because he does very well when he's working for other people, but not so well when he's just tinkering on his own. So hence the explosions that occur in the workshop on a multiple daily basis.
Meanwhile, this
about right.
Yeah. What,
For Katie, yeah.
given Katie's luck, it checks out.
Hey now.
But this merchant that like from the stall that you're pulling Mkfor away from, he's got this big bushy mustache, just a mustache, no beard, and he's kind of like scowling, and he's like, next time, you know how they punish people for stealing in these markets? They chop off your hands. I don't want to catch you doing this again. Next time you try taking something, you better be buying it.
Now, John, they haven't done that in hundreds of years. I would know.
Oh, don't you worry. I'll bring back the Kelishite rule of law. Don't you doubt me. Don't ever take from my merchants again. You can try to buy something if you want. I have plenty of things for sale, but I need coin for it. You understand?
Paid you recompense for the trouble. Go back to work. And he just waves and then drags
Mkfor be gone with you then
around the corner to hopefully not lose yet another customer.
And then as soon as you walk a few steps away, he comes back to he switches personalities entirely, and it goes back into his fully joyful self. It's like, selling adventurer gears, come buy your adventurers packs. We've got healing potions, alchemist fires, discount for adventure. Just shouting again.
Oh my gosh.
And then eventually, I assume you guys regroup with Habibi and Tanhi.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, like when they walk up, Tanhi just kind of like shakes her head a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, Mkfor, up to it again."
What? I didn't even get anything this time. All I got was this handful of marbles. He'll never miss them.
Oh my gosh.
He keeps rigorous inventory, Mkfor.
It was 5 Wait, hold on. Habibi, I never learned how to count. How many do I have here?
Here. I can show you. This is 1, 2, 3. You have 4 marbles.
7 marbles, okay?
I almost spit out my drink at that one.
I mean, if he asks where his marbles are, you just be like, oh, so you lost your marbles. And I think it'll be fine. It should be fine.
I'm never going to lose them. I'm going to keep them right here in my pocket. Wait, what happened to my pocket?
Before you guys know it, approaching you is a rather tallish man. He's wearing these fanciful robes, and he's carrying a large, knotted staff. Erin, who are we looking at?
You guys are looking at Tariq. Tariq is, you guys, as he starts to approach the group, you can see that there's a touch of mischievousness that shines in his eyes, and he kind of gives Mkfor a half smirk as he knows that he's been up to no good, as usual. He tosses his light brown hair back a little bit out of his eyes. The only thing he claims makes him miss in a fight, but he'd never pull back his hair because he knows that those devilishly good looks is what gets good results. So,
you tell that to the dice gods.
So the only thing that really bothers Tariq about himself, you'll notice that he really likes himself. The only thing that really bothers him is that he actually isn't very tall compared to most men he knows. He's only 5 feet 8 inches tall, so he does feel a little self-conscious about that. But never when he's around his ever hype man sister, because Tariq, while others may consider him what do we call this, a short king, his family, who's unique in its own aspect, considers him kind of giant. Then again, any human might be a giant compared to a halfling.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Tariq's height right now, and I don't know if you should be calling him a short king. That might make a lot of guys self-conscious if you write that number out loud.
Well, most people
What number is there?
Average height is 5'11" for men, and most 5'8"
Is
people,
it?
5'8"
No,
men.
it's
Listen,
not.
5'8" men consider themselves short kings.
I do not.
Okay, fine. Are
I
you
am
5'8"?
exactly
Really?
5 foot. I am exactly 5'8", and I am not short.
Okay,
I am
fine, but he's
average
definitely
size.
not tall.
Okay, we need to create another poll for
Oh
all
my
of our
gosh.
listeners.
No,
How
I do not
tall
feel
are
the
you?
cancel culture
Two
for calling
height
short men short kings. I'm sorry. Average height
Oh
men.
my gosh! I
You did
saw.
that to yourself. You have no one else to blame.
So funny.
Oh no! What? Okay,
I
I gotta
saw-
know now. What height did you give Tariq to call him a short king?
5'8".
It's not short.
Short to
No,
me.
that's not short.
I mean,
Wow.
Wahba, you're what? 5'10", 5'11"? What are you, Wahba?
He's 6.
I'm
he's
6'2".
definitely
You're
so
6.
tall.
You're not that much taller than me.
I am 6'2".
I'm 5'7"
He is.
myself.
He
so.
is 6'2". He's taller than my brother, who's 6'1". So
Okay, well, this
Okay,
average
and,
height man.
moving on. Speaking of
Okay,
height.
okay, well, this average height man who is not a short king, he is just a mid-sized prince.
He is a regular
feels-
sized king.
He feels like he's a giant compared to the rest of his halfling family. And so he turns over to his sister and goes, I guess Mkfor's up to it again.
Mkfor is always up to it. Oh my gosh. And of course, we'll segue into my character. So I'm playing Khepri. She is a halfling druid. So obviously not very tall, standing at a good 2 feet 11 inches, 1 inch taller than Mkfor because she needs to have that 1 inch count, okay? Khepri's got this long, crazy black hair. It's so pretty. It's very curly and it just flows with her every time she moves. She's got bright green eyes, very dark skin because she is a Wati native, and she has quite a spring to her step. Very strong, even though she is short in stature, but also quite acrobatic and athletic. She does like to go and jab at her taller brother, who is also younger. She'll make little jokes at his expense, but she does love him very much, even though he is adopted. So her family brought him in, and she grew up with him and has taken him under her own wing, even though he might be a little taller than that.
Who's the older sibling between the two of you?
I am. Khepri is the older sibling.
Ever the mother.
So she's the older.
Forever the mothering older sister.
Yes,
How-
always.
Now, how much older? I guess I don't think I actually know this answer. How much older is Khepri?
2 years, I believe.
I'm gonna say it's only 2 years, but enough
2 years
that
older,
it
and you're acting like his mom.
It makes a difference, okay? He needs to learn the way of Nethys. He needs to learn the way of the halflings. He's a tall man in a short person's world, okay?
Yeah, I am tall, aren't I? I'm so tall.
There we go.
There we
And
go.
he does a little
Sister,
flourish of his
obviously.
robes as he's like, yes, I'm so tall. And he's like going to puff out his chest.
Yeah.
Because he's not a
and
short
look,
king.
I
He's a tall
Because
man.
I can't see you, whatever you want to call yourself. Now, behind Khepri is her companion Ramses. Ramses is this slender, currently small puppy-ish pharaoh hound, nice, dark, stark black with pointy ears and one little piercing in that left ear. He is a very good companion. He's strong, has a jaw that, could bite metal if he could make it. I mean, I guess
Bite metal?
He thinks it can. I mean,
Okay.
he's very
He can
proud of
bite it all
himself.
day. Whether or not he bites through it.
That is true.
Another
Exactly.
story.
He can bite
An
it all
important
he
distinction.
wants. But he's very protective of Khepri and Tariq, but he's also quite fond of a special friend called Mkfor.
Everyone loves Mkfor.
Yeah,
how
they
well
do.
that goes.
Oh,
So
don't say it
naturally-
like that. Do not say it like that.
As Khepri's trying to move her brother out of the way, and she's like, "Come on, Tariq, I cannot see above all these people already, and you're in my way." Ramses locks eyes with Mkfor and just starts to run over, tongue hanging out, with tail wagging in the wind, and runs right up to him for a big old slobbery kiss.
As Ramses is running up, Mkfor just goes, no, 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 no! Damn
Ramses,
it.
roll me an athletics check.
Okay, you know what? Hold on. Let me get Ramses pulled up here. I will roll this athletic check.
Do it.
I'm gonna
Hey,
do it.
we got to take all the rolling we can get and a
That's
probably
true.
purely role play session.
Yes, and it's rolled blind GM.
17. Does that beat Mkfor's Fortitude DC?
I think it does, actually. Yes, it
So,
does.
If it's gonna
Oh my god, that's
if it's
amazing.
gonna beat the fortitude, then all I can say is that Ramses has now pummeled poor Mkfor to the ground and has given him one big old kiss, wagging his tail, and I could just see Mkfor getting so upset about this.
Oh my gosh, I
Just
love it.
through the slobbers of kisses, I just look around and I'm like, oh no, I just lost my marbles!
Oh my god.
And Keryth just slowly takes a step away. Like he already had to deal with tearing Mkfor away from trouble. His quota has been met.
Oh gosh. And for all of you out there who's going, what, a goblin? Tolerating a dog? Just remember, they all know each other. He's already gone through this whole thing with the dog.
I never said I liked him.
Oh, you love him.
For our new listeners, anyone who isn't familiar with the Pathfinder in general, there is this common, there's this like 10 fun facts about goblins that Paizo, the company that makes Pathfinder, published way back in their very first adventure. And one of the first facts is that goblins hate dogs. It's why one of their iconic weapons is called the dog slicer. It's a little dagger type thing, but it's just, they call it a dog slicer.
There's also now an explosive dog slicer.
Oh my god, wait, is there really?
Yes.
Ooh. But yeah, so Mkfor and Ramses, when they first interacted, I'm sure they had a similar, oh god, it's a dog, get that away from me! But now they've been together for enough months that Mkfor is starting to realize that Ramses isn't out to get him. And Ramses has always loved Mkfor, right? So as you guys finally regroup amongst each other, amongst yourselves, you look around and you can see like dozens of different adventuring groups, and they're all clamoring in the Sunburst Market over here on the map, and you guys are all just waiting for the Temple of Pharasma to start the opening ceremony. You guys have all come here to Wati to dig up ancient artifacts. 7 years ago,
No, not quite dig. Some of us are here to protect.
or protect.
I'd like to make sure that is said because I am a native from Wati and I want to make sure my heritage stays where it belongs.
Fair enough. Dig up with an asterisk. But you guys have all come to Wati in the heart of Osirion at the behest of Prince Khemit III, the Ruby Prince, the Pharaoh of Osiris. Of Osirion. 7 years ago, he opened up the antiquities of Osirion to the larger world of Golarion. He said that he realized, that when adventurers go to ancient crypts or tombs or caves or whatever and dig up ancient artifacts, they don't always hold on to them. Sometimes they try to sell them. And whenever they sell them, they always sell it to the nearest economy that can support this resurgence of treasure. And so Pharaoh Hemet III, wanting to bolster Osirion's economy, realized that this is actually a perfect opportunity to allow the economy of Osirion to grow. If he allows adventurers to come to Osirion and dig up these ancient relics, he thinks, and they find the relics and then sell them back to Osirion, they can then sell them to perhaps other people to try and make even more and more money. And for the most part, for the past couple of years, it's been working really well. And now it's Wati's turn. However, the Temple of Pharasma decided they were going to take control of how this happened. Obviously, they can't deny the pharaoh his request, but you get the sense, especially those of you who have lived in Wati for several years, that this isn't exactly how they expected things to happen. Eventually, as you guys are all waiting for this ceremony to begin, you hear a loud trumpet just a few feet to the south at this giant temple to Pharasma, the Grand Mausoleum. You guys all look over, and there is a temporary stage, temporarily built for the opening ceremony, and you see a woman rise up to the stage, and she looks very stern, and those of you who lived here recognize her as Sebti the Crocodile. She gestures her hand up, welcomes you guys all to stand before her, and just as she's about to speak, the credits roll, and we'll call it here today.
Oh, that was good.
So
guys.
early.
It's so early.
I missed my point. I should have done my Prince of Assyrian thing in the old city I was born and raised. You know that, like, the Fresh Prince. I mean, I wrote it down, so yeah.
Do you still remember all of it?
Oh, you definitely need to do that at some point. It could be like a fun little extra.
I'm sure there's going to be times where you guys are able to present or perform or something.
Okay. I'll keep it. I'll keep it.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the episode. If you liked what you heard, then please like, share, or subscribe to the Mithral Tabletop. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Or feel free to email us at themithraltabletop@gmail.com. See you next week. Music and sound effects provided to you by Envato Elements. The Mummy's Mask is copyright 2014. Mummy's Mask images, characters, and artwork are all a trademark of Paizo Incorporated.